I should mention that there is spoilers for Fallout 4 ahead. You have been warned. This is also my first creepypasta, so please let me know what you think. About a year ago, what I got considered to be the greatest job ever, I had been hired by Best Vista to help test our games, aid them in fixing bugs. These are big games that sometimes bugs slip through in the cracks, through their deadlines prohibit them from being fixed. So sorry. When I got inside, I had my orientation. I got what I considered to be one of the best news of my life. I'd get to help test Fallout 4. I was told my assignment would be simple at this point. I was to beat the game as fast as I could in any way I saw it fit, while I was writing down any bugs or any glaring problems that seemed to enter my mind. I started playing, but I kept my mind open, knowing bugs and glitches were abundant. I still remember exiting out of the cryopod to have my character fall through the floor on my first go. But all in all, it amazed me on how well they had the game made already. I happily played through, and I was thrilled when I joined the Brotherhood of Steel to find out that Liberty Prime was back. I damn near cried when I saw Sean in his deathbed, angry at me. At work, on the other hand, I was generally liked as I had replaced this rather interesting fellow. We will call him Nick, just to keep his identity a secret. Nick had been fired for threatening a female employee with the bodily harm. He was a slacker and general creep whom no one liked. They were all too glad to see him go. Within 2 days, I had got the game beat. We could take it home for 6 hours overtime a night, and I had turned in my notes. When I was told to log at the last at least another 100 hours in the game, and I was to check in each area that Salem select their map, the northeastern corner that is, and give feedback. I was thrilled to see my list of places to visit was Dunwich Borders. For those of you who don't know, the guys behind Fallout love H.P. Lovecraft horror novels, and the company Dunwich Borders, LLC, a play on Lovecraft's novel, Dunwich Horrors, was their homage to him. Typically a niche place related to the supernatural and occult, and could be good for some Janine spooks. I decided to save the best for last and went to the Borders on my last day of playing. When I could go home, curl up under a blanket, and scare myself what I could see. When night finally came, I kissed my wife goodnight at 10, went to my office and sat on my chair, and journeyed for the Borders. On the outside, things were much like they were now. There were a ton of raiders, including the one in the power armor, patrolling the outside, along with some burnt skeletons encaged in the bottom. I quickly mowed through them and went into the mines below. This is where things got weird. You see, inside seemed to be empty. No machinery, nothing artificial, not even a light, making it so hard to use my Pip-Boy and a night vision scope on my laser rifle to see where I was going. So I wrote down my notes that it didn't seem too unbelievable, and maybe they should add some equipment inside to make the area seem more realistic. I loved the lighting though. It gave the area an atmosphere of knowing what it was to come. I headed down the mines, and within a few minutes was startled when the cave started to shake, like an earthquake was happening. Further down I found a group of raiders. The odd thing was, only one was alive. He wore bloody clothing and was missing an arm. This surprised me, because humans couldn't lose limbs without dying. I put it off figuring the developers especially made this guy as a scare, keeping my sights on him. I approached him to see if he would just attack or if he'd do something. Once I was about 5 feet away from him, he let out an ear-piercing screech and ran at me, clutching a machete. I quickly killed him and he took the wounded animation, like what you get if you shot a key NPC, and he just took a look at me and said, "He will have your head. No one could come to this site without getting mad." He then laughed and died. My eyes went wide as I carried on. "Damn, going out full psychological horror props here," I whispered. As I carried further down, the deep voice echoed throughout the caves. "Come no further, Seth. Least you wish to go mad and feel my revenge." At first I was shocked. Did the game know my real name? I laughed it off as I thought for a second, reminded myself, you named your character Seth. Codsworth calls you by that name, so you probably did the same here. I whispered myself, surprised to see the effort they put in. I carried around the corner and heard, "Fine, you have doomed yourself." A jump scare of a ghoul's face flashed on my screen, making me jump before I was rushed to the front of 5-8 new creatures. They were called Hellspawn. They looked reskinned feral ghouls with red skin and fire sipping through it. This became the only source of light other than my Pip-Boy. I went to the vats and made a short work of them. They were only a little more durable than the normal ferals after all. I heard the voice again. "Congratulations, mortal. You have passed the first test. The test of your body now. You must pass the test of your mind to be graced by my presence." I carried on like normal, excited to see what the test of my mind was. I soon found out the lanterns began to guide my path and my feet, making it so I could switch off my Pip-Boy. I didn't know, though, that a personal hell awaited me. The lanterns led me to a narrow crevice, just big enough for me to walk through. I began to hear music as I entered, slow and eerie, as I found my character unable to move faster than a walk. I heard the voice once more. "No mortal has survived this. The test of mine will end you." My hell began as I suddenly saw an image of a real-life accident scene. A mangled corpse that had been cut in half by a truck. It looked like someone had slipped in and took a picture with the camera phone. I nearly vomited at the sight. I began to witch and heave. "What the fuck?" I said. "What the hell? What is wrong with these people? You can't have that in a game." As I went further and further to see what happened to vibrate shit they had, I was greeted with more images and even a few short videos. A pregnant woman killed with her child cut out and lay next to her. A man with his head split open. Even a clip of a man blowing his brains out with a pistol. All these eventually made me vomit into my trash can. Soon enough I made it to the end and was greeted with a bunch of lanterns surrounding a stone eye. "Congrats, you made it to the end, Seth." I heard the voice filled with spite. "But I have more image for you. One that shows you're my own personal demon." An image flashed. This time I was greeted with my own face. A day before I started my job. At the supermarket with my wife. "You see, Seth, you ended me. You took my job. You took my every reason for living. I know I could never kill you, but I could kill your spirit. You see, this modded disc was my idea. When I was told I had 3 days before I was let go, I knew they would have you come here, and now you get to be the first to know when I'm going to kill myself in 3 days after your first day at work. This is on you, Seth. I am dead because of you. Isn't that a bitch?" The game then crashed. I was left in shock. My mind went racing to Nick, the man I had replaced, how no one liked him. And in his shoes, I'd probably be pissed off as well. I didn't blame him for blaming me. Hell, I even blamed myself at this point. I immediately called my boss and let him know of my experience, and he told me that he was on his way and he would call 911. I went up and woke my wife, telling her of what happened while sobbing. She comforted me until my boss showed up, and we waited in the living room for the police to arrive and begin the investigation of the disc. When they seized the disc and everything related to it, a detective then sat and told me that they checked his house. They found him hanging on a noose in his room, a note clutched in his hand saying, "Revenge is sweet." And that, my pretties, was Fallout 4, Revenge is Sweet, a Fallout creepypasta written by Truent12. My final thoughts on the story? I thought this was a pretty good creepypasta based on Fallout 4. I personally really enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting and well made. It's a really good concept. I personally thought this was a really good concept for the story. And it obviously is. There's a lot of great aspect, and this is basically what happens to, this is basically what's happened to a person. Like, basically, this happened when the person gets, the protagonist of this story pretty much gets gets the Fallout 4 and they start gaming. They realize that whoever put this mod or new thing into Fallout 4 was actually the guy who got fired, and he ultimately, committed oof, if that makes sense. I personally would say that this is kind of cliched because other creepypastas done that, but with this one I'm willing to excuse it because it's there's a lot of time and effort being put into this story. I mean, there's not a bunch of stuff that's just been thrown in there for the sake of throwing it in there. I personally thought it was a really good concept. I personally love this concept. It's a really great story. It's well made. I personally found a lot of enjoyability. I mean, the grammar is really good, as well as the sentence structure in the storyline. I personally thought this was interesting. Although, what I could really say was the ending could have been a little better. Like, maybe some investigators, find out why this guy put it in the mod. Was he jealous or something? There was no reason for why that all happened, but at the same time, we may not really truly know what became of that person. But I mean, I know it's explained, but it's still. Well, I personally still thought it was a really good story. It was well made, really well detailed. I personally loved it. This story was obviously a really good one, and I personally thought it was really enjoyable. It's definitely a really great story. I personally really thought it was a good story. Now, I know not everyone likes this story, and that's understandable. But as a Fallout person, like a Fallout fan, I personally really enjoyed this a lot. This story was obviously a really good concept. It's well made. I like it a lot. It's just a really good story. I personally really enjoyed this a lot. I'll leave a link in the description down below in case if you guys want to go check this out. It is so awesome. So, yeah, this was a pretty good concept. I personally really thought it was awesome. So, with that being the case, and with that being said, like I'm always going to say, this is just simply my own personal opinion. And if you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these stories. This is just simply my own personal thoughts. I'm going to give this story a 10 out of 10. While it was not a perfect story, but it's still a really good Fallout creepypasta. I personally really like this a lot. This was really good. So, to the author, you did an amazing job with this story. I personally really enjoyed it a lot. It's a really good story. I really do like it. So anyways, what did you guys personally think of this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what would you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's video. And if you're new to my channel, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, with that being said, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter and DeviantArt, link to my DeviantArt and Twitter will be in the About page section, so you guys can go follow that. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my backup channel known as Ms. Dark Shigo, as a link to that will also be in the About page section, so you guys can go follow me on there if you like. So that's pretty much all I have to really say, but if I'm missing something, please let me know what it is in the comments below. So as always, I'll be seeing you guys all in the next video, and as always, roll the outro, because I'm out. What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Ms. Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, stay pretty.